get out of drug addiction and alcoholism. And so for the second time on the trip, we had our front right tire blow out. And so we pulled, and so immediately as soon as we know something's wrong, we just start praying. And we pull over to the side of the road, and right in the middle of us praying, as soon as we pull over to the side of the road, a white SUV pulls up right alongside of us and knocks on the door of the bus. Pastor Scott gets out, starts talking to this guy, and it turns out that about a couple of years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, this man had met Pastor Troy, who is the kind of the head of Raven Ministries, which is what we kind of fall under. He had met Pastor Troy in an airport. He had been short money to go out on a missions trip. His wife had told him, just go, take a step of faith. And Pastor Troy just walked up to him right in the middle of the airport and said, here, the Lord wants me to give you this money. And it was $400, exactly how much he needed to be able to go on the mission trip. And so he just happened to be behind us, see the bus that says Raven Ministries Impact on it. He pulled up alongside of us and just right as we stopped and handed us money. Handed us the money that we need, some money that we needed to get our tire repaired, to get fuel. So that was just the beginning. That somehow, somewhere, some random guy that Pastor Troy had met, years ago in a random airport happened to be right where we were in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Right? I mean, this place you have trouble finding it on the map. Just happened to be behind us in that moment, pulled up right as we started praying, right as we pulled to the side of the road, and just handed us money to help repair the tire. And so then we're stuck there, just trying to figure out what to do because we still didn't have tires. There was nowhere close. Everything was about 30 or 40 minutes away at least that had a place that could repair our tires. To buy it, we had to somehow get a new tire for the bus. And so while we're trying to figure that out, Pastor Scott just says, we're just trying to pray, do some worship, figure out what to do. He says, let's just go out into this town and just go door to door, start knocking on doors, seeing who we can pray for, who we can talk to about Jesus. And at first we're like, seriously? Because you look out and the place looks dead, like completely dead. I Wikipedia'd it. I pretty much Google everything, and I just wanted to see what was up with the town. The place had hit its heydays in about the 30s with 800 people and gone downhill since then. So, I mean, this place was barely alive. And we looked out there and we thought there's no way, this is probably the most pointless thing we could possibly do right now. There's no one even living here. It's a ghost town, completely dead. But we said, all right, we're just sitting here roasting inside the bus since we can't leave it running. So we might as well just take a step of faith and see what happens, And this whole trip, Pastor Scott has really been talking about just what you heard him preaching a little bit before is just praying and taking that step of faith and just trying to make yourself available for what God has to do. So we just broke up into some teams and started walking around the town. And sure enough, as we went door to door, we started to find people. We started to find life there. Even in little Podunk, Headley, Texas, with about 250, 300 people, there were still people there that were hurting, broken, and that needed Jesus. And so we started knocking on doors and started praying for people. And one man in particular, there's one store there on the side of the road, one gas station, and we had a team just outside there. He comes up and his name was Wayne, we just ask him if he needs prayer, and all of a sudden he just starts breaking down, crying right after we pray for him, and he just says that there's a peace and a comfort that he's never ever experienced before. He's been saved since he was a teenager, he was a kid, and he never experienced just the peace that comes from knowing Jesus Christ. It just in a moment his life was radically changed. And the thing about it is that they thought that he probably had cancer and that he was going to have to go start.
They actually
diagnosed
him. He just left the hospital and he had 6 months to live.
6 months to live. So this man is staring death in the face, and all hope seems lost. And in that moment, Christ comes and picks him up and raises him up. Who would have thought that us, a bunch of random kids, would stop on the side of the road, decide, all right, let's go ahead, get stuck on the side of the road. We didn't choose to stop there. And, it's 100-degree weather, and we said, okay, let's just walk around the town. And then we happened to run into this guy, who's facing death, who's been a Christian his entire life, but probably never really met Jesus, never really had an encounter with him. In that moment, he has an encounter. But then the crazy thing that happens is that he goes out and he tells every single person in that town what happened to him, how he met Jesus. And pretty soon, the whole town is turning out to help us out with the bus, to see what we have to offer. We're going up and we're preaching and ministering to 12 and 13-year-olds who are catching the vision, saying, man, I want to serve Jesus now. I want to live for Jesus. I want to tell everyone. Right? We talked to 13-year-old kid, right? And the day after the day after we get out of Headley and everything, he calls one of us up and says, "Hey, I'm starting a Bible study. You know, I'm telling everyone I know about Jesus. I'm praying for people." He's just going out and doing it. You know, mothers were coming up to us and saying, "Thank you so much." There was this woman that we were talking to at that one store, and we talked to her, and she was just cold, hard, didn't want anything to do with us. But then she heard about us praying for Wayne, and she came. We were out playing basketball with the kid we were talking to, just hanging out with him, you know, just trying to be a witness to him. And she comes to us crying, broken. Someone who earlier in the day had been hard-hearted, didn't really want to talk to us, kind of gave us the cold shoulder. Christ just came in and just changed her heart, and was just weeping. I mean, then she gave us a ride from the basketball court back. After that, she's willing to do anything for us. And so, the cool thing about it all is, you know, even despite the fact that we may have not been in the right place, that we weren't, that we didn't expect anything to happen there. You know, we were just faithful. We took that step of faith and said, "All right, we'll go out," and God totally met us there. I mean, basically caused revival in that entire little town. You know, they're telling us to come back. You know, they want to see us again. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we established lifelong relationships in just 8 hours there.